starter gun went off and I jumped in the water, fighting for position. 5 months before this, I was out late one night, talking to a few girls, and one of them bet me that I wouldn't sign up for a triathlon. So in the spirit of trying to impress her, I signed up right there. Well, I stayed out late that night and woke up late the next day. And I decided that the following day was probably the best day to start preparing. Unfortunately, I had that conversation with myself for the next 5 months. I had signed up for an Olympic distance triathlon. I was going to have to swim 1.5 kilometers, bike 40 kilometers, and run at 10 kilometers. For us Americans, that's 0.9 mile swim, a 24.8 mile bike ride, and a 6.2 mile run. Wasn't like I was completely out of shape though. I was playing competitive rugby at the time. I was also going to CrossFit, so I was in okay shape. But biking and swimming are completely different than the fitness I was used to. So for 5 months, didn't do much other than play rugby and go to CrossFit. A few days before the race, I decided I'd go drive the bike course. So it was 30 minutes from my work. I drive out there and boy, oh boy, was it a hilly. I mean, it was up and down and up and down. I was tired from even doing it in my truck. But it was too late to change my mind now and train. And I don't like to quit something I've committed to, so it looked like I was in it. The weekend came. Friday after work, I got home, packed my truck up with my stuff, and headed for the campground. The races went Saturday and Sunday. My race was on Sunday, but there was thousands of people in this campground that were racing over the weekend. And a few guys asked me on Saturday afternoon if I wanted to go park my bike down in the racks and register. So we take off and we start down this hill. And this was the biggest hill I've ever been down. I mean, I was flying on my bike. And we get down to the bottom and I said, "What's that?" And the guy said, "Oh, that's the start of the bike course." And I thought, oh, I'm in it. So go and register. They give me my bib and write my name on my arm and on the back of my calf. And I don't usually get nervous until the whistle blows in an event, but that night I was getting nervous. So the next morning I'm sitting on the boat ramp next to the lake with my wetsuit unzipped. In the spirit of preparing for this, I had borrowed a wetsuit and I didn't try it on. It was a little bit too snug. So the starter called for males ages 25 to 30 to get in the starting position. I walked down to the edge of the water, zipped up my wetsuit, and bang! We took off swimming. I was getting kicked and punched, and I was kicking and punching people, fighting for a position in that swim, and I swam as hard and as fast as I could until I couldn't breathe anymore. The wetsuit was just squeezing my lungs. So I unzipped my wetsuit, caught my breath, and I tried to start swimming, and it was like a parachute behind me. So I side-stroked the rest of the swim. I make it back to the boat ramp, jog up, and went to the transition for the bike. So get my bike shoes on and put my bike shirt on, make sure I squeeze one of these disgusting little goo gel calorie packs in my mouth, and I take off straight up that hill. And all I can think of is just keep on pedaling and the bike will keep carrying you. So I finally made it up that hill, and you get a little flatter, and there's aid stations with bands playing and college people volunteering, handing you water and cheering. So I get to the halfway point and I turn around, I make the turn, and I think, man, I got a long way to go. And I start back up a little hill, and I start getting past. I've been getting past the whole time, but this time, it's by people with their ages written on the backs of their cabs, and they're in their 60s and 70s. So I think, all right, just make it to that big hill and coast down. So I made it to that hill, and it was the best feeling just to coast down that hill in the kind of in the middle of the race. Well, I get to the bike rack and park my bike and put my running shoes on and get ready for that. And I go to take a step, and it's like I had bricks on my feet. My legs could barely pick them up. So I took off very slow out of the transition place. But finally that feeling of my legs kind of went away. And I was jogging along the lake's edge, and it was kind of nice, and I could hear people up above me talking, and I see there's a little turn in the road, and I turn and I look up, and there's a hill straight up for the run again. And I thought, no one told me I was in for this. So I'm jogging up the hill. Well, I was walk jogging up the hill. So made it up to the top of that hill, took advantage of some refreshment stations, moseyed around the bluff overlooking the lake, and then I got to that bike hill again, and that was the end of the run. Riding down that bike hill is a lot easier than running down it, especially when your legs are that tired. So I wobbly legged it down the hill, and you get to the bottom, and I turned a corner, and all I could see was the finishing timer, a long stretch of people cheering and clapping and cameras. So I picked up my body language, made it look like the last 4 hours wasn't the most miserable thing I've ever done in my life. And I sprinted across that finish line. A few high fives, a couple of hugs, and a finisher medal is what I got for that day. I went straight to a food tent to replenish some of the calories that I had just burned. And I learned two things that day. I never want to be that underprepared for anything ever again in my life. And your body can do a lot more than your body will keep you moving as long as your mind will keep you moving. Thank you.